He leaves, basically goes to Vegas, and then just parties all his money away until he's broke. Of course, the story of the prodigal son. The son goes to the father and says, "Give me my inheritance now." He doesn't want to wait, which is in effect him telling his father, "You're dead to me." Right? He goes to his father and says, "You're dead to me. Give me my money." And the father actually does it. The father actually gives him his inheritance ahead of time. He leaves, basically goes to Vegas, and then just parties all his money away until he's broke, and then essentially comes to his senses. And then he says, "You know what? My father's hired servant. They have it better than me. What I'm going to do is go back to my father's house, and I'm going to tell him, I've messed up. Father, I'm sorry. Please take me back. And I'm not worthy to be called your son. I'll just be a hired servant." And of course, when he comes and he shows up, the father lavishes him with a robe and says, "I'm so happy you're home." He's so excited for him. And it's an awesome story. And of course, the elder brother is jealous about it because the elder brother stayed home with him the whole time. But the elder brother didn't stay home because he had the right heart attitude about it. So in a sense, the elder brother commits a different sin. The prodigal son, the younger brother, commits one type of sin, hedonism, but the elder brother commits another type of sin. The elder brother's sin is that of following the father's orders because he thinks the father owes him something for it. He's not doing it out of the goodness of his heart. He's not doing it because he loves the father. But the eldest son follows the father's orders because he thinks that's the way he's going to earn favor, right? You can almost see the elder brother rubbing his hands together. If I obey, I'm going to be the son that the father blesses. The father, he's gonna give me this whole estate, right? It's gonna be owed to me because I did all the good stuff. And so he's got the wrong attitude with it. If you want to know a little bit more about the parable of the prodigal son, I recommend the little book. This is such an easy, quick read, guys. Timothy Keller's book, The Prodigal God, is a fantastic book. Martin says, "Why does the elder brother get the reward then? My son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours." Let's read what Keller says about the lost elder brother. It's just a couple paragraphs, guys. "When the elder brother hears from the servants that his younger brother has returned and been reinstated by his father, he is furious. Now it is his turn to disgrace the father." So the younger brother's already done it. Now he gets to do it. "He refuses to go in to what is perhaps the biggest feast and public event his father has ever put on. He remains outside the door, publicly casting a vote of no confidence in his father's actions. This forces the father to come out and to speak to his older son, a demeaning thing to have to do when you are the lord of the manor and the host of a great feast. He begins to plead with his eldest son to come in, but he continues to refuse. Why is the older son so furious? He is especially upset about the cost of all that is happening. He says, 'You've never given me even a goat for a party. How dare you give him the calf?' The fattened calf is only a symbol, however, because what the father has done costs far more than the calf. By bringing the younger brother back into the family, he has made him an heir again with a claim to 1/3 of their own, now very diminished, family wealth. This is unconscionable to the older brother. He's adding things up. I've worked myself to death, and I've earned what I've got, but my brother has done nothing to earn anything." Again, the older brother's focus is on earning. "Indeed, he's merited only expulsion, and yet you lavish him with wealth? Where's the justice in that?" Right? That is why the elder brother refers to his record. "I have never disobeyed you, so I have these rights. These are my rights. I deserve to be consulted about this. You have no right to make these decisions unilaterally." And so the elder brother's fury leads him to insult his father even further. He refuses to address him in the elaborately respectful manner that inferiors owed to superiors in that culture, particularly in public. He does not say "esteemed father," but simply "look," which is equivalent to "look, you." In a culture where respect and deference to elders was all important, such behavior is outrageous. A modern-day equivalent might be a son writing a humiliating tell-all memoir that destroys his father's reputation and career. Finally, we come to the denouement. How will the father respond to his older son's open rebellion? What will he do? A man of his time and place might have disowned his son on the spot. Instead, he responds again with amazing tenderness. So what Keller says is he's demonstrating tenderness to the elder brother just like he demonstrated tenderness to the younger brother. The elder brother has a different sin. The elder brother has a different problem, and yet the father is demonstrating tenderness to him as well. He demonstrated tenderness to the younger brother by bringing him back in, and he's demonstrating tenderness to the elder brother by saying, "You are always with me. Everything I have is yours." "My son," he begins, "despite how you've insulted me publicly, I still want you in the feast. I'm not going to disown your brother, but I don't want to disown you either. I challenge you to swallow your pride and come into the feast. The choice is yours. Will you or will you not? This is an unexpectedly gracious and dramatic appeal. The listeners are on the edge of their seats. Will the family finally be reunited in unity and love? Will the brothers be reconciled? Will the elder brother be softened by this remarkable offer and be reconciled to his father? Just as all these thoughts pass through our mind, the story ends. Why doesn't Jesus finish the story and tell us what happened? It is because the real audience for the story is the Pharisees, the elder brothers. Jesus is pleading with his enemies to respond to his message. What is that message? The answer to that question will emerge as we take time in the next chapters to understand the main points Jesus is seeking to drive home here. In short, Jesus is redefining everything we thought we knew about connecting to God. He's redefining sin, what it means to be lost, and what it means to be saved. So, Keller's answer, and I think it makes a lot of sense, is why is Jesus telling this parable to begin with? If we go to Luke, he's telling these parables, lost coin, lost son, lost sheep. He's telling all of these parables almost as a remark against the Pharisees. He's saying, look, guys, this is what God is doing. The great banquet, all of this, right? Almost all of these parables are about this. God is saying, Israel is my people. The Jews are my people, but I'm bringing in the Gentiles too. Are you going to accept the Gentiles? Are you going to love and appreciate the Gentiles that I'm bringing in? Or are you going to denounce them? The choice is yours. So Jesus is doing that with almost all of these parables, and the parable of the prodigal son is no different. In the parable of the prodigal son is the Gentiles. He represents the Gentiles, whereas the elder brother is the Jews. But they both have sinned against God, just in different ways. The elder brother sins against God in that he thinks that he is owed something from God by keeping his commands, keeping his laws. The elder brothers sin against God by running away full-fledged and not following their creator or their maker, right? Just like Romans 1 says, the Gentiles essentially have lived in such a state as, although they knew God, they did not honor him as God nor give thanks, but their foolish hearts were darkened, right? So God is essentially saying, all right, Israel, I'm going to bring the Gentiles back in. How are you going to respond? I've made my covenant with you. You are always mine, and I am always yours. But I'm going to bring the Gentiles back in. How are you going to respond? And Jesus is essentially putting this question to the Pharisees with all of these parables, right, in a row. And the prodigal son is no different. So that's the idea, I think, there. Grant says, I viewed it as the older brother being resemblance of the Jews and the younger brother being in resemblance of the Gentiles. Again, Grant killing it on the interpretation here of Jews and Gentiles. Older brother is the Jews, younger brother is the Gentiles. The Jews obviously always have the promise from God, but how are they going to respond to the Gentiles being brought in? How are they going to respond? And of course, we know historically they didn't respond well, and that's why Paul writes Romans 9 through 11. Speaking of the Gentiles speaking of the Jews not responding well to the Gentiles being brought in. That's why you have all the difficulties in the book of Acts, because the Jews are struggling with the Gentiles being brought in. Grant says, the Jews shouldn't be upset about the Gentiles getting grace and mercy, since they likewise are still in the promise to those who accept Christ. Reminds me of Matthew 21. Yeah, I defer to Grant. What Grant said. Fantastic interpretation, Grant. And that's exactly it. And so the reason, going back to what you asked, Martin, the reason that the Father says, you are always with me and everything I have is yours, is because of the great grace and mercy and loving kindness that God has been showing to the Jews generation after generation after generation. But what will they do now that the Gentiles are coming in? What will they do? And of course, they did not respond well. He's kind of putting the question to the Pharisees, what are you guys going to do? And obviously, they didn't react appropriately.
Hey guys, Pastor Channer here, and I don't know about you, but I feel like the like and subscribe buttons might be calling your name. In all seriousness, though, we would love if you head down to the description and catch us on the link over to Twitch or over to Discord. It's there that we can interact with people live, even when we're not putting out videos, and we would love for you to come join the conversation. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and take care. God bless, and bye now.